Hey, what's up everybody, this is Muse24, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the 1 to 100 scale Master Grade Gundam X. Hey there everybody, I realize it's been a while since I did my last proper Gundam review, and simply put the reason for that is because I've been working a third shift job since September, and I've been working quite a few more hours at this job than I was at my previous one, and it's just sort of difficult for me to work around the sleeping schedule of everybody else. Like, I don't want to be making a bunch of noise on the weekends when I'm home if everybody else is sleeping, so that's part of the reason that I haven't been doing as many of these lately. But I really want to get back on track with these, and I figured it'd be really easy to do the Master Grade Gundam X. Also, it's one of the most recent releases in the Master Grade line, and I know a lot of people are interested in it. The other Gundam kits that I'm just going to throw out there, not necessarily as an order that I will necessarily do them in, but that are going to be a little bit easier for me to just jump into, are the V-Dash, which I actually meant to get around to doing last year. The Exia and the Proto Zero should be both pretty easy to do. I haven't built either of those yet. The Banshee will take a little bit longer simply because I have to do the transformation mode, much like I did with the Unicorn. Also, the Ava kit should be pretty fast, but that's part of the reason that you've seen more comic book and graphic novel reviews from me lately, is because they're a lot easier to crank out. I can do those in one go, I don't have to edit them or anything. But I really was looking forward to building this kit and reviewing it, so we're going to jump right into it now. By looking at the kit itself, you've got some really nice colors here. I was a little unsure as to how much I was going to like this darker blue. If you compare it to the high grade here, I don't know how well you can see in the light, but this kit has more of like a turquoise color, whereas the Master Grade has very much a blue color. It's very much a little bit darker blue, but it's a more true blue than this. And I really like this color on the high grade. I thought it was really cool, very different color. But also on the high grade, you have just these sticker panels. And while they look really nice for the high grade, and this is one of my favorite high grades I've ever built, is the Gundam X. While they look really nice on this kit, the plastic and foil sheet things that they use on the Master Grade, I think actually look better. I was a little skeptical on that because I wasn't quite sure how it was going to look. This is a tricky sort of thing to pull off no matter what kind of kit you're doing. But I think it worked well enough for the high grade here. I think it works better on the Master Grade. We'll get to that in a little bit. But, yeah, taking a look at the rest of the colors, you've got your red, yellow, a lot of white, and then you have a clear purple, actually, on the wrist and on the legs. And I don't know how well you can tell there, but you can see there's a little bit of clear, sort of see-through to the white there. You got it running down the legs. And it's just really cool, nice little addition there that they didn't necessarily have to do. They could have made it like a flat purple color, but it's interesting to see them do something different there. You also have it running through the middle of the shoulders. You also have the standard gray for the hands and the inner mechanic parts and the parts of the cannon. And then there is a little bit of black, actually, on the handle for the beam saber, and then on the bottom of the rifle shield combo thingamabob. The name of it, I forget at the moment. I'll get that straightened out before the end of this review. But the box art here is fantastic. I mentioned in my unboxing video this is one of my favorite box art pieces, I guess you could say, for any Master Grade ever, if not my very favorite. I just think it's really cool to have the Air Master and the Leopard there, and then obviously the Gundam X in the front. Taking a look at around the rest of the box, we have some action poses, shot of it up on the stand, and I did buy a stand separate for this kit. Shield Buster Rifle, that's what it's called right there. Alright, oh man, I'm a little rusty here, but we're getting back into it. So there's a front shot of the kit, and then obviously the bottom is the same as the front of the box. Then we have the satellite cannon, how that slides back and forth, shot from the anime, which is like one of two on the side here. It's a little weird that those are kind of out of place, but whatever. Then we have a cockpit shot, how that opens. And interestingly enough, with a lot of the 90s kits, they had, or 90s Gundams rather, not necessarily kits themselves, but the 90s Gundams, they had this sort of like slide forward opening, and there's like a door there. This one, it actually flips down and forward, and that's because a lot of the 90s Gundams are smaller in size when compared to a lot of the UC Gundams or other Gundam series out there. I don't remember how tall the X is, but it's not necessarily that far off from the G Gundam sizes, so somewhere in that ballpark. I believe Wing's actually the smallest of the 90s Gundam series, but G Gundam's not a lot bigger, so somewhere in that ballpark. Got a shot of the shoulder Vulcans, the shot of the hands, a back shot, and obviously these pictures here are painted up. It looks a lot more detailed and almost a little bit weathered there than the actual kit does right out of the box. And then some close-up shots on the crotch and the chest to show where the marking seals would go, as well as a shot of the reflector panels. There are some spare trees in there that don't have any pieces left on them. I just left them in the box for the moment. Taking a look at the instruction manual. Again, same sort of shot on the front there as you have on the box. Flip it open and has a list of all the different components we're going to build for this kit, as well as how to put the decals on and cut stuff off the trees. You also have a look at the GX bits and pilot Garrett Ran, who is easily one of my favorite lead Gundam pilots in the entire Gundam metaverse. Then we have a list of all the parts and runners, and we start building with the body unit. Go to the head, arms, shoulders, and waist. Get in the middle here where you have your little splash color page showing the Gundam X doing all sorts of cool stuff, a list of the paint colors if you were going to paint the kit up, as well as how to paint the pilot figure that comes included, how much the panel lining will make a difference on how the kit looks, and then a couple action shots of the Gundam X doing different sweet poses. Then we build the legs and the knees, and the weapons, the satellite cannon, and then it shows you how to attach all that and rotate it around and transform everything so that you can fire the satellite cannon. And then on the back, it's showing how to attach them to the action base, as well as a list of where all the decals go on the kit. And then on the back, we have just a front shot and a back shot and a couple anime sequences. They're very simple, but very nice presentation on the back of the manual there. So, Gundam X is one of my favorite Gundam series from the alternate universe stuff. It's not my very favorite. I still like Turn A little bit more, but it's definitely up there as far as like the 90s anime goes from the Gundam series and alternate universe series in general. This is one kit that I was very much looking forward to when they announced it, because it's one of the lead Gundams, obviously, and I want to collect as many of the lead Gundams as I can, but also it's just a really cool design in general. Like, this is my third favorite lead Gundam design behind the Strike and the Zeta. And I just like the fact that it's very asymmetrical, it's very colorful, but also you have a lot of white there, which is kind of interesting, because obviously every lead Gundam has some white or white-ish color. Obviously, like the Mark II from Zeta has more of like a tan gray color, but it's still something comparable to white. The only other lead Gundams that I can think of that have this much white on them, though, are like the Turn A, the Victory, and the F-91. A lot of the other ones, they have more of the blues and the reds and the yellows in there, and it's just really cool to see that they handled the colors in such a way that obviously the purples and the blue and red stand out very well, but the white gives it a very different appeal, I guess, if that's the right word for it. I have heard from some other people who have done reviews, and obviously there's not a ton of reviews of this kit out there yet. Obviously they're coming in as people are building this kit and finishing it up. But one of the things I heard early on, before I finished building mine, was that this kit didn't require a lot of panel lining. And I heard this from a couple people. I found that wasn't exactly the case. Not that it requires a ton of panel lining, but it requires a decent amount, a pretty average amount that you would expect out of a master grade. And just to show you, I panel lined along the front skirt here, up in that section. Down here, I did these little divots here. That gray part is actually a piece underneath the white, so that's separate. I didn't have to do a whole lot of panel lining, obviously, on the reds and the blues, because there's not that much in the way of divots or lines to actually panel line. There's one little bit there, on top of the cockpit. These little red bars there, I did panel line those. Panel line down the arm, down the legs, along the satellite panels, and then all along the satellite loading cannon. as well as on the Buster rifle and the shoulders, and then the head required a pretty average amount, I guess you could say. So it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't require a ton of panel lining per se, but it does require a pretty average amount. I didn't put any of the stickers or decals on this kit yet, but I can go ahead and show those off to you guys here while we're still just covering this first part. I may go ahead and put these on later. I'm not sure yet, because there are some pretty cool decals in here. But you have the GX 9900 logo. You have a bunch of caution logos, the satellite system logo, Gundam logo, two different pilot names. One's Jamil and the other one's Garrett, depending on which, timeline you want to be, not timeline, but time in the series you want to be presenting this Gundam as being from. And then just a bunch of other little warning logos and stuff. And these are all the clear back stickers that you can just slap on. There's no dry transfer stuff that comes with this. The interesting thing, though, about this kit is that most of the foil stickers, with the exception of the eyes, I didn't use any of the other ones. And the reason for that is because all the pieces they give you for those are already molded in clear green. So I didn't feel like there was a point to doing these foil stickers. But you do get enough of these to do the scopes on the rifle and the satellite loading cannon, the back and front cameras of the head, and then obviously the eyes. And if I can get a close-up of the head here, you might not be able to see it because just the angle and the lighting here, but the little jewel inside of there is clear green. There's also clear green for the eye pieces, but you don't have the black around them, so instead of painting them, I just put that sticker on there. It's also a little tricky to see, but this clear green over the chest piece looks really nice because there's a lot of detail in there, some little ridges that it covers up. I wish it was a little bit brighter green. I believe the... I know the high grade for sure has more of a lime green, and I think the old 1 to 100 scale high grade had that too. I think it would have been a little bit nicer if it was a lighter green, but oh well, it's not the biggest issue to complain about. And then, let me see if I can't pull up the Buster rifle scope here, see if you can see that a little bit better, just because it's bigger. This might be a little bit easier to see, but that's clear green on the scope there, and I think it looks just fine the way it is. I don't feel like it needs a foil sticker over top of it, which is the reason that I just went ahead and did all of those pieces the way they are. So that's a really nice thing, is that if you don't want to use the foil stickers on these, you don't have to, and they'll look just fine the way they are. Anyways, everybody, that wraps up part 1. Check back for part 2, where I will show the size comparison with other kits, the posability of the Gundam X, the weapons and accessories, and then give my final thoughts on the kit. Sono Gino Sadame Gundam!